know my future is, but it'll never be our past. Even distance in your world will never ever change the past. Yeah.
Hello everybody, it is Fight Club Hubs. Welcome to GVN Live. And with me is Mark B. Writing, and she's back. You can't see her, but she's back. There she is. I mean, she got a little makeover, but she's back. Hi Jan, how you doing? Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back.
We missed you.
I know. Work schedule was really weird.
Absolutely. So, how do we begin the show? Well, we're gonna forego, what we've been playing because I actually
we have a lot of shit to talk about, not much time to talk about.
Pretty much,
Exactly.
yes. So, but again, just welcome back, Jan. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. We got a really huge show today. We're gonna talk about the Genesis Mini. The rest of the games were revealed today. Talk about the World Health Organization, gaming disorder, which will go into effect, I guess, in a couple of years officially, but it's been announced. We're going to speculate on E3. That'll be a little bit later, though, and we're going to talk about some odds and ends, some weird shit like Xbox body spray and a rock band suing 3D Realms over a name. I mean,
Oh boy.
okay. Anyway, let's begin. So the games for the Genesis Mini have been revealed. The final set of games. Along with them is like, oh crap, I just lost my list. But we had Road Rash 2, Virtua Fighter 2, whoop-de-fucking-do, Tetris, and Shinobi 3 amongst the list of games. And what Jan just told me, and I didn't actually count it out, but there's 42 games now instead of just 40 as what was previously not going to be happening. So, Jan, do you want to jump right into this topic since you've been gone for a while?
Oh my goodness. All right, so I'm just gonna start right out. There are, let's see here. I'm just gonna count it. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4.
What are you counting here?
5.
Yeah, what are you counting?
There's about 10 games just as a baseline on this system that I'm just blown away that even exist. Again, in the ability to actually have this. So the fact that we're getting the original Shining Force again, which is like, all right, that's cool. Original Toe Jam and Earl, which was actually a relatively decent platformer for its time.
Now you're thinking of the sequel, Panic on Funkatron. The original game is a roguelike.
Oh, that's true, but I mean, it's still not awful.
No, it's fine. It's not a platformer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I got them confused. It's been a long time.
It's probably a little bit closer
fine.
to a dungeon crawler, if anything.
True. But then we also have access to Thunder Force 3, not awful. Earthworm Jim, one of my more favorite games that have been out in a long time.
Earthworm Jim is just great.
I mean,
Tommy
controversy
Tallarico.
notwithstanding, commentary notwithstanding, yes, it's a great game. But then you've also got things like Gunstar Heroes, Phantasy Star 4, Mega Man The Wily Wars, like that blew my mind. Darius and arcade Tetris, like, okay. I'm pretty sold. Like, I was originally sold when they announced the first 10 when they announced Gunstar Hero, because I love that game to death, and it's been a very long time since I've actually had an original copy of that, so it'll be nice to actually get it specifically for that. But obviously the other games that I said are other games that are obviously worth it for me to pick the system up. And then of course, because we have Tetris and Darius, that gives us 42 games on a miniature replica system. Can I just start by the fact that not only are we getting 2 controllers instead of 1 controller, but it's actually coming with the power cable that it's supposed to come with? Sorry, Sony. Your shitty console didn't do very good. In fact, I know some people that just use it as a coaster now because it's shaped like PlayStation.
I think it's going for $25 now at Walmart and GameStop.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah,
but
they
the
fucked
baseline
up
is
real hard.
I'm still questioning a couple of games on this though. Like for me, I'm not entirely sure why they went with. Yeah, Virtual Fighter. We're not going to talk about that. I'm not entirely sure why they went with Special Championship Edition instead of Turbo, but
Well,
whatever.
because
It's the one
Special
that's unique to
Champion
the
Edition
Genesis.
is exclusive to Sega Genesis. Turbo
I
was
understand
to Super
that.
Nintendo.
Well, they did release Super
Yeah, that's
on
what I'm
both.
talking.
They did
Yeah.
not release Super Turbo. Super Turbo was only on the 3DO.
3DO.
And
they
the
did
Amiga
release Super.
CD32, but we don't talk about that.
Oof. And the other one that I'm sort of kind of still not entirely sure why specifically it's on here was Super Fantasy Zone, I guess. I mean,
there are
Oppo
fans
is
of
a
the
stable, but probably could have filled that with a better game than that one, personally.
I mean, if anything, the list of games here, the ones I'm just questioning that I wish could have been swapped out. Maybe Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine could have been taken out. Take out Sonic Spinball. Take out Virtua Fighter 2. I'm not exactly sure on Kid Chameleon. I know there's some people that seem to have enjoyed it. I never played it, so I don't have any attachment to it. And maybe insert some games like Sonic and Knuckles 3 or something a little bit harder to find or pay money for, like Crusader of Senti. I mean, these are just wish games that I know would never see the light of day. But
I mean, Sonic 3 and Knuckles was not going to happen because of the music dispute. Like, there's a lawsuit because of the music. So we already knew that wasn't going to happen. Honestly, I still question, Alex Kidd. I know that it's a classic. But
Can somebody explain this music dispute thing? Because I don't care about Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Like, I'm not even being facetious. I don't care about it. Like, I played it when I was a kid, and I've never given a shit about it beyond that. What is the issue that is going on with the music?
TLDR, the original composer for the Knuckles attachment and 2 of the tracks out of the original version of Sonic 3 was let go from Sega and is suing for the rights to their music back. And so because of that, the Sonic 3 license is put into an effective freeze and cannot be re-released.
Oh.
Otherwise, royalties would need to be paid, and Sega's not looking to do that.
Okay, that's fair.
that sucks. But does that mean they had did they pull it from like Steam or Xbox Live Arcade? No, it's still available there.
It's still available as a game in its original but a re-release would initiate a new royalty contract for that specific person, and Sega is not looking to do that at this time.
Okay. So now outside of, this impressive list of games, and I think one of the only major complaints outside of like a couple games that to be swapped in and out is the fact that why bring the system with 3-button controllers instead of the 6-button controllers, which, by the way, are going to be provided and compatible with the controllers being put out by Retrobit. I'm not exactly a fan of Retrobit because I've owned a couple of their controllers and they were absolute shit. So, but this was like several years ago. Maybe their quality has improved. I don't know. But
considering the fact that the only game on the entire roster that actually utilizes the 6 buttons is Street Fighter.
Incorrect.
Which other game uses 6?
Eternal Champions.
Oh, I completely blocked that from memory because it's ass, so I'm sorry.
No, it's
well,
not.
that's fine. You're allowed to be wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, sure.
I mean, Eternal Champions is one of the best fucking fighting games of the 16-bit generation.
I won't go that fucking far.
I like how
when I can play as an owl and kick people's asses, that's fucking gold right there.
Look, I like how we kind of went.
Because what?
I kind of how like our scales just tipped from don't care to best game ever, and Mark's in the middle going like.
I didn't say best game ever. I said one of the best fighting games on the 16-bit era.
Well,
he's like, I hate both of you right now.
I don't hate either of you. I'm just like it. Like here's my thing. Is I went and I did the numbers between the Genesis and the Mega Drive versions of these,
Mhm.
and it's just very interesting, like how things break down. 25 of the games between the two are identical. And
Mhm.
for me, it's all the games that I would want in the list
Mhm.
are in that 25. Like
Hi,
that I would
Pineapple.
really want. There's a couple that might be outside of it. But games that you wouldn't see anywhere else, like Beyond Oasis is on a couple of the Sega Classics collections that exist. Comic Zone is on a couple of the
Oh,
Sega
yeah.
Classics collections that exist. But Alicia Dragoon, I've never seen that released anywhere else up until now. Castlevania Bloodlines, I've never seen that released anywhere else up until now. Contra Hardcore, I've never seen that released anywhere else up until now. Darius, which is basically like a quasi remake by M2 of the Darius arcade game, and the Tetris, which is a remake of the arcade version of Tetris. I don't know why they're on this device, but fucking A, I'll absolutely play them. Why not?
Absolutely.
Ghouls and Ghosts, not available anywhere else. Landstalker, not available. Jesus fucking Christ, Landstalker, that's a big one. Mega
is.
Man: The Wily Wars, not available
not
anywhere
available.
else.
I mean, I have
Like-
a repro of it, but yes, that is a big win right there.
Like even Road Rash 2, there's like no Road Rashes available basically anywhere. Like Road Rash is not my favorite game in the world, but I loved it for what it was at the time, and having it available to me in that way. Thunder Force 3, not available really anywhere else. It's a lot of shit that you would not expect to see because we never have before. And then from there, there are two games that are kind of sort of in an odd space. One is Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine versus Puyo Puyo Su. It's basically the same fucking game.
Mm-hmm.
And the other is Shinobi 3 Return of the Ninja Master versus Revenge of Shinobi, which I'm not especially a fan of Shinobi 3, but I understand why Revenge of Shinobi isn't going to be on the collection. It's just kind of a sort of situation.
Yeah.
But then I kind of look at the Japanese versus the US releases of games, and while it is fair that the US version of the console has Sonic Spinball and Virtua Fighter 2, which and Alex Kidd and the Enchanted Castle, which I appreciate it from a historical perspective, but yeah, it's not a good game. And I like Alex Kidd. I like Alex Kidd, but the only good Alex Kidd game is Alex Kidd in Miracle World. This is the only good Alex Kidd game. Maybe Alex Kidd in Ninja World, which is very strange. But yeah, like that's
Yeah,
like
we watched
that's,
you stream it. That was a weird game.
No, I streamed Alex Kidd in the Enchanted Castle, and that game was. I'm sorry, no, Alex Kidd in High Tech World. That
World,
game
okay.
was fucking weird and bad and dumb. But it was interesting to me because like a lot of the stuff that's on the Japanese version is just very weird shit that I'm not sure was ever even necessarily all that popular in Japan. Like there's a couple of games that I would absolutely want on the US release. Assault Suit Lanos, aka Target Earth. I would love to have that, but we're not going to get it. That's fine, but I would love to have it. Langrisser 2, I would love to have it. I understand why I'm not getting it, but I would love to have it.
Yeah,
That would be amazing.
Yeah, Musha. I don't know why we're not getting that one. That's
weird.
some dick, but whatever.
you know what we need? We need some Truxin. We need that. No.
Yeah, Truxton was not my favorite shooter. It's fine, but it's not not my favorite.
But Hobbs, we have Space Harrier too.
We do have Space Harrier too,
Yes.
which is that's another one where it's like this is not really anywhere else, huh?
Yep.
But then it's like you look at the rest of the stuff on the list and it's very confusing. Like Dyna Brothers 2 is an RTS dinosaur game, which is just the weirdest goddamn thing.
Yeah.
Game no Kanzame or Otyoku is a 12-in-1 game, which just features a bunch of really mediocre Genesis games that were like half a megabyte, if that, as well as a bunch of Master System games, including Teddy Boy and Penguin Land, which is... Alright. Yeah, Lord Monarch is a very strange RTS game, which I watched some footage of it, and I just was like, huh? Mado Monogatari is goofy anime Shining in the Darkness.
Oh.
And it's okay, but just give me Shining in the Darkness.
Yeah,
Party
I'm
Quiz
surprised
Mega
that's not
Q
in the
is-
list.
Yeah, Party Quiz Mega Q. It's a quiz show game. I could go the rest of my life without having a quiz show game.
Mhm.
Puzzle and Action Tantar is WarioWare but shit.
I mean, it's not wrong. It definitely is.
Yeah, Snow Brothers is a Mario Brothers clone and not a very good one.
Mm-mm.
Slap Fight MD, despite the name, is just a shmup. Like, the only thing in the list that I'm like, I would be interested in playing it because it's never really seen a US release, and I've never really tried it before, is Rent a Hero
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the Hybrid Front. Like, those are the only two games where I'm like, I would be interested in seeing those. But, like, they have, like, Wrestle Ball on this list, which is Powerball, which is Powerball if you've seen it. And it's like, why? That game wasn't good when it came out. And they have, like, a Yu Yu Hakusho fighting game instead of Eternal Champions, which is okay.
Not
Actually, I
terrible.
heard that was a big seller in Japan. I mean, I remember
I'm
reading
sure,
about.
I'm sure it was, but like I don't know, like it's like the
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z fighting games, you know?
Oh yeah, the
It was
early
a big
Dragon
seller
Ball Z
and it was
fighting
popular.
games,
It doesn't mean it was good.
like hyper fighting, hyperdimensional
Yeah.
fighting Dragon Ball Z game on the Super Nintendo. God, those were garbage.
Until
Like, so-
until Dragon Ball Fighters, the only other really good multiplayer.
Don't say Budokai.
Oh God, get out of here! No, it was on the PlayStation. It was 3-on-3, and it was 2D in a 3D space. It was like a
Oh
seen
yeah, it
that
was
one.
also on the Saturn. I have it.
yeah, that one's the only other really good Dragon Ball fighting game that came out in the last like decade, outside of like
Decade.
Fighters. So
But
Like,
yeah, my point
you
here
can fight
is,
me
you know,
for
the
something.
US version has some stinkers on it, you know.
mhm.
We probably don't need Sonic Spinball ever. We
No.
don't need Alex Kidd in the Enchanted Castle ever. We don't need
No.
Altered Beast. I'm sorry, but that game was a novelty when it came out.
It's on everything
ass.
they always release. I'm just happy
Yeah.
that they're re-releasing Golden Axe. I mean, because the last time I got a Golden Axe was 2000.
Yeah, but Golden Axe has been
12?
in every compilation as well. So
I
it's
mean,
kinda
to be
like-
truthfully honest, I would like at this point for Golden Axe 2, which I thought was a great game. Golden Axe 3 was a great game, but it never got released in the US. I would like to really play a port of the direct sequel to Golden Axe that's only out in the arcades. I forget the exact name to it. I guess
I know what you're talking about, the beat 'em up.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
beat 'em up. That one I really want
That
to
would
play.
be
That
fun.
one looks amazing.
Yeah, I would have been
Yeah.
fine with them putting that in, but it's just, to me, it's interesting because like the US version, like the Genesis
Mm-hmm.
mini, I think got the better deal here. Like, yeah, we got
agree.
Sonic Spinball, we got Altered Beast, we got Virtua Fighter 2, but we get Castle of Illusion, we get Earthworm Jim, which, you know, like, fuck the people involved in the game, but Earthworm Jim is still a classic. We get Eternal Champions, Light Crusader, Toe Jam and Earl, Strider, which, you know,
Fantasy
like Wonder
Star
Boy and Monster
4
World.
of all the Fantasy Star games.
Well, I'm just talking about the exclusive,
Oh,
the
yeah.
ones that are exclusive to the Genesis. Like,
Mhm.
we got a lot of really great games on the US version, and like I said, like the Japanese console gets Target
Kind of.
Earth, Langrisser 2, and Musha. Like,
Kind
Okay.
of targeted, but I also get it.
Yeah.
Like,
Speaking of only in Japan, though, I mean, how about that cosmetic only thing they got coming out?
look, so like I don't have a problem with that. I think like it's nice and it's just sort of novelty. I would mind having the tower set up. I'm not worried about the 32x bit, but I'm interested enough to want to actually have the Sega CD underneath the actual Genesis Mini personally. But that's just me. But then again, if they're like we were talking about it earlier, if they're gonna do that, then we need some like actual Sega CD games on it too. Like I
mean,
think
that would
a
be
thing that
nice.
cool.
That would absolutely be nice if it was like a mini hard drive of some kind that came preloaded with like 5 or 6 games that
Oh,
you
come
attached.
on.
Well,
5
I mean, come on.
with the sheer amount of games that we're getting with this okay, so
But think about it.
and-
Like, if you do something like that, it could also act as, like, let's say, a hub for, connected to the internet through your computer and
Updates,
pay for games
exactly.
or something.
not even that, it's just like we're gonna give you guys an update pack pay $5.99, you get 30 more games,
that would
or 20
work.
more games. Some of them are like Sega CD games, more Genesis games. Like, you just have the ability to preload this. The problem is that you start charging for DLC content like that for, flat fee for extra games that you wouldn't normally get. And people are really going to start being like, well, we're just going to change the front end and just download our own games on the Pi, which we already know is probably what's powering it. The thing about it, though, is that there are specific games that I feel like could be something that you could offer in a case like that. Like, and again, games that we were talking about earlier. Give me Microcosm. Give me. I know it will never happen because licensing is a bitch, but I'd take the Bram Stoker's Dracula game on Sega CD again. That was a fun game.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get like, I don't know. You put Dark Wizard on there too, and bring back some real hardcore anime RTS people, because that was a really amazing game for not just for its time, but just in general. The AI wasn't absolute trash.
I
kind of want to say bring back the Terminator game for the Sega CD, but
that
really
music
the only
was
reason
amazing
I want
on that
yeah,
game.
that's the only reason I want that is because of the Tommy Tallarico soundtrack.
If you want to talk about great
yeah.
music with a great game, I was a big fan of Soulstar. I don't know if you guys have played that. It's kind of like an isometric space shooting game, like in the vein of Star Fox, but it's all pixelated and there's lots of scaling and Mode 7 going on. Soulstar.
Oh, I was thinking of something else. There's another shump that came out that was kind of like that.
They had Sylphied, but that was like an early polygon like space shooter.
Right, but Sylphied was fantastic because it was like the first time, like for me, like Sylphied was the first time I'd ever actually had like voice acting in a shump.
It was great. And then
it was like for me, it was like Sylphied is the primary reason why I owned and played the ever-living crap out of Einhander.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
what I liked about Sylphied was, sure, it was a polygon shooter, but everything in the background was pre-rendered, like you saw a movie going on. Mm-hmm. So it's like really awesome as you're flying through and you're shooting enemies, but you're seeing like
it played out like an epic,
like a space battle was going on in the background. You saw big ships getting shot down by giant lasers from across the ways. It was a great game.
It was fantastic.
Damn it, Sega. Make the Mega CD Mini happen, motherfuckers.
Oh man, give me an attachment. I'll be happy.
Just go ahead and skip on the 32X Mini, okay? We don't need a little tiny mushroom on top of that thing. You might as well just go ahead and try and work on a fake Neptune while you're at it, too. Neptune Mini.
I mean, from an aesthetic perspective, I wouldn't mind having the 32X Mini.
As long as we don't have 20 cables coming out the back. Daytona's on the Saturn.
Yeah, you're thinking of VR racing.
Yeah, virtual racing.
That's the one. Virtual racing.
Yeah, they just re-released it on the Switch, as a matter of fact, and it looks surprisingly good for a 25-year-old game.
It was, I mean, considering the fact that Daytona is just about as old, it still looks pretty fantastic for its age.
Oh, yeah.
But if we're really going to go into that, and I'm only going to touch on it for a moment so that we can kind of move on, but if we're really going to touch on the reason why a lot of those arcade racing or a lot of those arcade-style games that Sega made in that that mid to late 90s era, you have to attribute a large percentage of the quality to the AM2 engine. You just have to.
Oh, yeah, they did a great job with that.
The AM2 engine, and then subsequently the 3 and the 4, that engine was built from the ground up internally specifically for that kind of high speed, not really 60 FPS, but like the concept of 60 FPS before it was really a big deal. Mm-hmm. Built into an arcade machine that could be translated for home use in the future. This is why when you got games like Virtua Fighter 3 and Daytona and VR Racing and, a lot of the games that they built onto that engine at that time, when they came from the arcade to the home console, they looked the way they did in the arcade, especially on the Saturn. Mm-hmm. It was that is the key attribute as to why those games hold up so well, and why I feel like Sega as a company, having sort of like to tie it back into the Mini, why the Mini, I feel like not only because it has more games than the other Mini consoles. Am I wrong? I think it has the most.
It's got the most. The SNES Classic had exactly 30 games.
Okay, so yeah, since this definitely has more, that just speaks to not just the nostalgia factor, but also speaks to the fact that Sega listens, like, has been listening to the hype and sort of understanding, hey, look, we need, not just do we need more games, but we need the quality games, the games that we know sold the best, the games that we know that hold that nostalgia level for people who loved the Genesis for what it was, and not just throwing a bunch of, yeah, we've seen all of these games before. We see these games release every 5, 6, 4 years, you know, whatever time range it is. We see these games release every new generation or every just couple of years because, oh, we remastered it. Oh, we've updated it. You know, it's like, it feels more like the Mini has a place, not just in the miniature console department, but it really has this conceptual idea of, we're not just trying to give you nostalgia, we're trying to make you understand that the reason why you liked what we do is because these are the games that you remember, and they still play and are still as good as you remember. Whereas, and again, I'm speaking to probably just my own personal bias here, but I feel like the Nintendo Classic was kind of a jump, but the Super Nintendo Classic made more sense. And so does the Genesis. Like, I feel like the Genesis Mini makes sense, and it's being released at a point now, especially after Sony decided to fuck up the PlayStation Classic.
Not just Sony, but the Commodore 64 Mini and that weird ass mini SNK Neo Geo arcade thing.
Yeah.
Just ugh.
But I feel like, and Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it's basically the best one that's going to release.
I mean, you know, subjectively, like, there's no way to objectively quantify that, but
Hey Keith, what's up, buddy? Welcome
Keith.
to the show.
Here's the thing. You're not going to see another platform come after this that's going to have any real
substance
or impact or value to people. The PlayStation was it. Like, that was Sony's one shot at getting this right, because they don't have another. You're not going to go.
We're not going to see a PS2 Classic. It's not going to happen.
No, we're not going to see a PS2 Classic, because any game that you're going to release on that is going to be hundreds of megabytes large. And you can release a PS1 Classic and get games that are like, 100 megabytes, 150 megabytes, whatever. Eventually, it comes to a point where the amount of storage space you're going to require for the DVD games is going to get into the gigabytes, and it's going to be like, it's not really feasible.
Yeah, no.
There's a lot of great games they could put onto the platform, but I don't see that being a desirable property for anybody.
Right.
Sega could do a Saturn Classic, but nobody gives a fuck about the Saturn. You don't give a fuck about the Saturn, even if you think you do.
I do. Now, fuck you.
I mean, let's so that sort of,
there's like maybe 10 games. There's like maybe 10 games on the Saturn that you would really want to have ownership of. Certainly not enough to make a classic Saturn that you could put into the home.
No, I can agree with that. Yeah, there's.
It'd definitely help to decrease the cost of a couple of those games specifically. Absolutely, but I don't feel like it's going to be enough of a console like, it's not going to be consistent, and it's not going to be content rich enough for it to warrant its own miniature console.
And you're not going to get Panzer Dragoon Saga on that because the source code is lost. So,
but you still get 1 and 2, so that doesn't matter.
True.
Well, Saga is the one that everybody wants. Let's be clear about that.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I'm not denying that at all.
I mean, they're going to be re-releasing Panzer Dragoon 1 and 2, and they're going to do a remake of Saga for their Sega Ages HD collection.
Right. So, and that's actually what I was going to mention, is like, in a case like that, though, for when you come into something like, hey, we're going to make another console that's classic, at that point it would just be more, because of the generational gap and the technology used to make those games, at that point it would be more feasible for them to just release it as a collection or a bundle and release it on PS4, Steam, Switch. You know, like that's just the way it's going. But funny that you would mention talking about all these kind of consoles, because like that sort of leads me to our next topic, honestly. Like all of these things that we've been talking about it, and I don't know if you guys have heard about this or not, but apparently gaming has now been officially recognized, or at least the addiction to gaming is now officially recognized as an actual disorder.
Yes, well, thank you for segueing for us, Jan. So, last year or the week before...
last year.
Was it last year? I thought the deliberations and the talks about it began last year, and they just finally, had a verdict on it like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So the verdict was carried out last week, and it goes into effect, actually, in a couple of years. Is it 2020 or is it 2021?
I think it's 2020. I'd have to double check the article.
Okay. Well, anyway, the World Health Organization is now recognizing video gaming disorder, addiction as a gaming disorder. Let me read a little bit off the website. What is gaming disorder? Gaming disorder is defined in the 11th revision of the International Classification of Disease, ICD-11, as a pattern of gaming behavior, digital gaming or video gaming, characterized by impaired control over gaming, increasingly priority given to gaming over other activities to the extent that gaming takes precedence over other interests and daily activities, and continuation or escalation of gaming despite the occurrence of negative consequences. Pretty much you don't give a shit about anything else and all you want to do is play games. I mean, okay. So, let's, I was trying to find some information on this, and I'm not very good because I had a lot of sources, and some of them just didn't want to mesh well.
So, a lot of what's going on right now with this specific release of information on ICD-11 is specifically because of the fact that there's a lot of hearsay. A lot of people are speculating on what they personally believe, or in most cases, what they personally believe is what the classification is. However, they specifically state it, like if you go further into the WHO article, it actually says the decision on inclusion of gaming disorder in ICD-11 is based on reviews and available evidence and reflects a consensus of experts from different disciplines and geographical regions that were involved in the process of technical consultations undertaken by the WHO in the process of ICD-11 development. The inclusion of gaming disorder in ICD-11 follows the development of treating programs for people with health conditions identical to those characteristic of gaming disorder in many parts of the world, and will result in the increased attention of health professionals to the risks of development of the disorder, and accordingly to relevant prevention and treatment measures. So basically what they said is they went worldwide, like globally, to talk to professionals across the globe who have seen people who have put themselves into such dire straits, physically and mentally, to do nothing but game.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys have ever heard of these kinds of stories before.
Oh, definitely. China, there's a lot of them that come out of China. People dying in land centers because that's all they do for like 48 hours straight.
Not even
South
that.
Korea.
It's
South
it's all
Korea,
over
China,
Asia.
it's all over Asia.
Asian. Okay, so prioritizing the fact that there are a lot of Asian countries that have gaming centers that are specifically set up that you walk in, you pay a flat amount, you go into a small room, close the door, and play video games or be on a computer or on a console for hours on end, or even just as we have, a LAN center that you might be, more familiar with, like here in the States, where you go into a room that's filled with rows of computers with all of these rowdy people and, music playing in the background and an energy drink bar as you're walking past the main part of the room, where these people will come in, they will sit down, and they won't stop playing. And this kind of stuff is like, it started off as kind of like an outlier thing, and it just continued to grow and get bigger and bigger, and more incidents started happening. This is not just limited to LAN centers, though. This is not just limited to things that happen in the public light. Now, if anybody knows anything about MMORPGs, for instance, I will go as far back as EverQuest, because I'm going to tell you right now, this
yeah.
happened then too, where parents were negligent of children and either harmed or in some cases even killed their children due to negligence because they spent their entire day just playing EverQuest. The same thing happened with people in World of Warcraft, where they would have a job, they'd have a life, they'd be doing things, they were paying bills, they got into WoW, and then everything crashed. They lost their job, they lost their families, they lost their homes, they moved in with friends, they kept playing the game, they mooched off people. It got to that point where it started getting really big media attention. I mean, there's an entire episode of South Park about gaming addiction. The whole World of Warcraft episode. Didn't they just... Who was it that did... I mean, for crying out loud, didn't The Simpsons just do like a League of Legends episode recently?
Yeah, a couple seasons ago, they finally, recognized it. Gave it their honor.
I mean, in the baseline of just the concept of gaming being more mainstream, you start to see more and more incidents of this specific disorder where people prioritize a form of digital entertainment over anything else in their life. So the fact that the World Health Organization, WHO, is especially adding something like this into the most recent revision of the International Classification of Diseases to make it officially recognized by mental health professionals and, just health professionals in general, is kind of crazy. Because, that's just sort of where it's come to. This is what it's come to at this point. There are so many more, especially now with the institution of faster and faster internet speeds. Before, it wasn't nearly as bad because dial-up was prohibitive.
Mm-hmm.
But now that high-speed internet as a baseline has gotten to that point where, obviously not so much here as the rest of the world, but here now so more often than not, because of the fact that we're finally starting to quote-unquote catch up, but I'm not going to get into that. You start to see more and more incidents of these things happening where these people are putting their own bodies into the dumpster because the only thing they want to do is concentrate on what they have in front of them, be it on a screen or VR or a phone or a handheld device. So this kind of stuff it's gotten to the point where it's been so regularly documented that they decided that this is something that needs to be, discussed and checked and verified and now officially placed into the ICD as a disorder, an actual disease.
Yeah, it's I'm actually not surprised about this. Sure, for the last few years, everybody has been joking around with the concept of video gaming addiction should be considered a disorder or whatever. It's been joked around a lot, but the truth is, and science and the science and research is behind it. Video games, produce quite a lot of dopamine through, interactions and getting your satisfaction through, the games that you play. And there are just some people who, just get quite addicted through these, intense sessions off of dopamine highs, I guess is what it's called, right? So it's absolutely, I figured it was really only a matter of time before something like this would definitely be looked into as hard as it's now been by the HWO, going around the fucking world talking to professions. That is a big deal when you can do something like that. It's not like, just a couple doctors and Katie Couric on fucking NBC talking about it,
Right.
It's a pretty big deal, and I think the way they went about this, I have to say it's very tasteful. It's actually not going out of its way to, make gaming look bad at all. That's going to be... It
wasn't built to be sensational.
No, it was not.
That's the big deal.
That's the thing, is they did it in a very discreet manner. They came out and talked about it, and I'm just surprised that, places like Fox News or CNN haven't blown it up with a negative spin like they tend to do when they talk about anything gaming related.
Oh, don't worry about it. Just give it some time.
No, I don't. I want to do a preemptive strike. I want these motherfuckers to not have anything to say. Sorry, Mark. You've been silent. Please share your thoughts.
I don't really have much to say on it. I mean, it's, a form of addiction. It's no different from gambling addictions or alcohol addictions or things of that nature. You're getting some sort of rewarding sensation for doing the thing, so it makes you want to do the thing more.
Whereas I would have to say,
I'm glad that they did it. I'm glad that this is a thing that the World Health Organization has looked into and addressed.
I do have to say, though, in regards to the gambling, like, that can actually be tampered with. If you've heard about the stuff decades ago about, casinos managing to manipulate people by, increasing their dopamine levels through, apparently they're saying that they are able to emit a scent that enhances, like, people's desire for gambling or something like that. I have to find that article.
I know that there's a science behind the sounds of a casino.
Yeah.
Creating a dopamine high. And I know that part of the reason why casinos are as flashy and as bright and as colorful as they are is because the colors can also create that sensation.
The sensation overload.
Exactly. It can create a sensation of excitement because of all of the different things that are going on, the sounds, the lights, everything like that.
It's like an inclusive environment where, like, you're hearing people screaming and shouting and celebrating in the background, and you're like, hey, that could be me. I want to be a part of that. I want to keep going until I can, be the one screaming and shouting and celebrating that I win. It's definitely a toxic environment, I guess, but in a weird way.
I feel like another part of it too, though, is, and this is something that really kind of excites me, is that when you look at the fact that they are now officially recognizing it as an actual disorder, a problem that can be dealt with via physical and mental health professionals, this reopens my personal, topic. To me, it's a personal topic that I find to be incredibly engaging and incredibly important to discuss, is using gaming to treat health, to fix health. Studies have shown that being able to do repetitive tasks have helped to not completely reverse, but help to partially revert mental functionality and repair parts of the brain in dementia and Alzheimer's patients. There are people who use specific types of augmented reality, or especially nowadays in virtual reality, to help people with physical disabilities, to help people with physical therapy, for instance, you were in an accident, help with, just like Rob said, PTSD and combat veterans, or PTSD in general. There are ways of being able to create virtual worlds that are specifically catered and tailored to people who have executive disorder functionality issues or have anxiety problems with people and crowds, to help them to associate and to integrate into an actual functioning, working society. Even though it may be virtual, it's still interacting with actual real people with real voices. It's not just you in a computer simulation with AIs and fake robot voices. This is other people in the same. I mean, think along the lines of things like VR chat and Second Life and those kinds of integrative technologies being used in a more medical application. Something like this being classified as an actual disorder now reopens that talking point of, even though gaming as an addiction can be classified as a disorder, it can still also be used to help, and here are the reasons why. Here is the documentation. It's peer-reviewed. It's proven that it works and it helps, and can be used not just to treat the disorders of other issues, but could also still be utilized in a way to functionally reduce and remove some of the issues that create gaming, gaming disorder as a disorder to be treated with gaming in a functionally different way. there are ways to still turn the games that are being played into something that's educational enough to help the person remove themselves from that idea of I only have to game to I can still game and still be productive and still be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So it really speaks a lot of good that something like this happens, and it really helps to allow people to appreciate that there are ways of making something like this good, and there are ways of making things like this bad, because like you said, certain outlets can get a hold of something like this and absolutely spin it. But then you also have the ability to bring in professionals who have used the technology or used something that is in the realm of understanding within that disorder's, line of questioning to prove that it is in fact possible to fix these kinds of issues, and that it is in fact possible that this can still be construed in a positive light, and that the fact that something like this is the way it is a good thing. So it's just a matter of how it's actually being played out in the public eye, because obviously you get something like that could be positively spun negatively, and it's like, everyone starts questioning it again, because scapegoats are a thing, and they'll always be a thing as long as there's public media, and that's just how it goes. But I'm not really going to touch on that, because that's not what we're talking about. The baseline is, though, I believe that this is good. This is a step in the right direction. This is going to help a lot of people, Okay. I don't have specific demographics, but I know it's going to help. And having the ability to reopen that question line of, can we use this to help people, even if they have a disorder of gaming, can we use gaming in a positive light for that person to remove that disorder from them?
Now, the biggest question, though, is now that it will be recognized as a gaming disorder for addiction, how would you go about with a treatment plan in order to help people, break from their habits? I mean, you can't exactly go cold turkey. That can have a psychological problem.
Mm-hmm. Well,
that's really a question for an actual psychologist.
Absolutely.
I mean, we could speculate, but I mean that's also not in our realm of expertise whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, there's you could definitely do it within the confines of, say, like a 12-step program.
Yeah.
Or
a rehab center, maybe.
A rehab center. You could. You would probably follow the same sorts of addiction treatment programs that exist for alcohol or for gambling or for any type of addiction that exists. That would be the starting point that you would map off of, because those have had success in the past. Mm-hmm. So it stands to reason that you would want to use something that has already been successful as a template for the thing that you're going to do. It's not an exact perfect one-to-one mapping, but I can definitely see how somebody would look at the situation and say, well, this has had success with people in X way, let's try this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I could see the recovery from, let's say, your treatment plan could probably be just as fragile. I mean, just as easy it is for someone, to pick up drugs again or to pick up drinking again just from a single sip. Mm-hmm. It's very easy for a guy to, let's say, have access to a cell phone and suddenly pick up a gacha game and then start his addiction all over again,
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, and that's actually something that the WHO touched on as well. At the very end of it, is the studies suggest that gaming disorder affects only a small portion of the people who engage in digital or video gaming activities. However, people who partake in gaming should also be alert to the amount of time they spend on gaming activities, particularly when it's to the exclusion of other daily activities and gambling.
Yep. And yeah, gacha games are gambling.
Yep. But when you really break it down, it's not just the gacha genre. You also have current generation like CS:GO, Overwatch, League of Legends. In some
anything
situations,
by EA.
There are ways. I mean, anything by EA. Loot boxes are gambling. So Keith, the gacha genre is a very Japanese style, very Asian style of mobile gaming, where it's either an RPG or it's some form of a game where you have characters that consistently are in your party. Think of like Pokemon. But the thing is that the only way to get those characters generally is not through just playing through the game. It's by going in and getting an in-game currency by playing the game, and then trying to randomly get those characters through a random draw chance loot box style system. So I don't know, play better games. Oh, thanks, Mark.
Oh, Mark, you have a way with words.
The gacha style system is
It's like, listen, I don't know what you want me to tell you here. Like play more games the next time that we have this conversation.
There you go. But the baseline is that while gacha is something that can still be construed as gambling, loot boxes are really where the primary focus of a lot of the ire has come from for something like this. Now, some people can argue that a gacha game is built to be something that can be stopped more consistently than somebody who plays a loot box style game. And the reason for that is because of the point of, or not just the point, but the cost of entry into the game. Gacha games are almost inherently always free. You do not have to pay a single dime to actually download and play the game at a base level. A loot box style game has a cost of entry. Generally, these games are AAA titles. Generally, these games are going to have some sort of a cost for you to actually buy the software to play the game, and then continue to pump money into the game in order to gain things that may very well not even be cosmetic. This is usually known as either an online store or an in-game store or just a store, depending on where you're getting it from. This allows you to buy an in-game secondary currency that is only purchasable with real money, just like the currencies in gacha games. Basically, and this is the easiest way that I can put it, if you're still kind of confused, you don't understand, a gacha system, as it was spelled out, Gacha, is basically a crane game. You put a small amount of money into the machine, you attempt to maneuver a claw, and get a prize. All of these gacha games, loot boxes, these systematic problems begin a gambling sort of mentality. I'm not going to get too much further into it, but
basically every mobile phone game, like a lot of mobile phone games do this sort of stuff regardless of the core mechanics they're associated with. Mm-hmm. So it's basically you dump X amount of money into a thing using premium currency, and you have a random chance of getting stuff that you would want. Hero-based games in general are the most common form of this. So whether it's Fate Grand Order, Fire Emblem Fates, Brave Frontier,
Star Ocean, or Valkyrie Profile.
Star Ocean, Valkyrie Profile. The Sega game that came out recently that is some like a mobile
the upcoming Phantasy
game.
Star mobile game.
Clone Evolution, Zombie Strike,
etc., etc., etc.
Yeah, there are thousands of these games, and like the main thing there is that's a form of gambling just because you have a percentage to get the thing, and it's usually like 1% or something like that.
Mm-hmm. But essentially, though, like something like I was just saying earlier, a gacha game is something that could easily reignite somebody's gambling habit because it's just so easily accessible, and it's just a bad thing. So, of course, it stinks. However, there's not much we can do. Like you said, we have to.
Hey, you know
what stinks? I was saving that, but I wasn't sure if it was going to work.
You could do if you stink. You could buy the new upcoming Microsoft, Xbox, and Axe body spray line of beauty products
called Lynx.
Yup, that's
at the same time. I have a craving for Mountain Dew.
Can I just say, leave it to fucking Axe as a company to get a license to make like a form of cleaning product based around a video game company, and they're like, what should we name it? I know, let's name it after a different video game company's shitty defunct handheld.
Absolutely.
Really, you motherfuckers.
Oh man.
So what does it smell like when you spray it on?
Was Jaguar taken?
I'm wondering what
No,
the
that's
smell...
the new rustic scent.
Yeah, you
This
spray
one
it on.
smells
You
Yeah, their scent for ladies is coming out. Wonder Swan.
So I'm just curious, what's the scent going to be like when you put on the Lynx? Is it going to smell like a room full of Smash Brothers players?
Oh God! Why would you want to make yourself smell bad? Come on!
I mean, you're capturing the essence of gamers, and what's the smell that most people...
See, here's the thing. No. So here's the thing. Microsoft.
It's just gonna smell like old people and feet.
I was gonna say Mountain Dew and Dorito cheese, Steve, but whatever, man. If you start using it, you immediately have to drink Monster and start wearing a backwards hat. Hi, Chad. How you doing, Chad?
Ugh.
Don't forget the Monster hoodie to go with it.
Oh God.
And
Look,
combat shorts. You gotta have your combat camo shorts.
Oh, they're shorts. Get it right.
I don't give a shit. I don't wear that stupid ass line of clothing.
Look, here's the deal. I think like I get it.
My name is not John Cena.
There's
And his name is John Cena.
There's only two things that I have to say about this. One, if it doesn't have caffeine in it, you're doing it wrong. And two,
John Cena
do it
sucks.
on Microsoft. Wow. Do it on Microsoft for trying to branch out and do something that isn't electronics based. Is it good? Probably not. Is it a good idea? Probably not. But are they going to keep doing it and make sure that something like this actually sells well enough that people are going to go, hey man, you smell great. What are you using? I'm using Xbox Lynx. Is that a weird to like peripherals? Like, no, I used it in the shower. Don't you kill yourself if you put electronics like toasters in the oven into your bathtub?
I'm just wondering, how would the commercials pan out for something like this?
Bro,
like,
it's Axe. It's
Axe.
At the head
So if
of
you
it all
spray
is
it, does that
Axe.
mean they're going to do the opposite thing? You spray it on and the girls run away from you?
Oh, come! They already do when you wear normal Axe, because guys don't know how to stop spraying it.
See, this is why I use cologne like a normal adult.
Good, thank you.
What's the proper amount of cologne that you put on, Mark? Because I have run into quite a number of human beings who
Terry
don't
Crews
seem
comes
to
out.
have an idea of what's the appropriate amount.
Well, that's a thing that people have a problem with in general, unfortunately.
I think it's just a dab on the shoulder, then you rub them together, and you're done.
I usually do like one spray on my neck and one spray in my hair, honestly.
Mhm. That's really all you need.
Yeah.
It is. It's really all you need.
I can't tell you the number of times I've worked and I had to deal with customers who, I swear to God, use it like shampoo or something.
I mean, listen, we are a disgusting people. Just human beings are gross. I don't know what to tell you.
We're basically meat sacks with weird bones in the middle. But anyway.
And our bones are always wet.
Yeah, we're all juicy inside. I just hope you know that. So here's the thing. Like, when Think Geek came out with a line of caffeinated products, including shampoo, soap, and lotions.
Yeah,
Okay.
caffeinated shampoo was definitely the point where I was like, you know that's not going to work, right?
Jesus Christ, it's really not. But hey, whatever. If it says it has caffeine in it, it's like, why the fuck?
It's
not?
like, listen, don't drink your shampoo.
They have that actually on the bottle, by the way. Just
You
FYI.
drank a whole bottle of shampoo? No, I didn't. I'm not the one farting bubbles.
But like, so I digress. The humans as a species was never meant to actually survive. But anyway,
Don't worry, we'll be dead in 16 years.
as a baseline, yeah. But then we can't have 42069.
Oh well.
That's going to be our Melmac moment.
Yeah, it really
We're all
will.
going to plug it. We're all going to plug in our hair dryers at the same time, and just our planet's going to explode.
Yep. So long, and thanks for all the fish.
I can't
So,
believe
like-
you just made a fucking Alf reference.
Absolutely.
Dude, Alpha's great. Eat shit.
I know.
Alf is
I'm not
amazing.
disagreeing with you. It's just fucking awesome.
So here's the deal. I feel like when they originally started releasing that sort of stuff, I was kind of like, it's really only going to be a matter of time before it's basically just so idiotic that you're gonna see like I honestly, when I saw that, I'm like, so when's Sony gonna come out with, hairspray and shampoo? Obviously Microsoft beat him to the punch, but let's be honest here. I feel like the idea behind what they did with that and sort of how that marketing kind of just occurred, it really speaks to personally, it speaks to two things. One, it speaks to the fact that Microsoft is kind of hip to the idea that this might actually be a good idea for them. And two, it speaks to the idea that, they went with Axe. Of all of the people they could have gone with, like, Old Spice was a choice and they decided not to, and they went with Axe.
They went with the bro stick.
Exactly. They went with the, hey, you're a bro if you're on Microsoft and you're playing on Xbox, which, let's be completely honest, you really just don't call it Xbox Link. It's obviously Madden 2020. Come the fuck on, people. Wake up, sheeple. I mean,
long hours of playing Call of Duty remastered. Here's an Xbox Lynx for you, so you don't stink up the place.
They should have just sold it at $99.99 and said it's an Xbox One peripheral, for crying out loud. It probably would have sold better. Not like the Xbox One sells good at all.
Yeah, if you buy $50 worth of it, you get a free copy of Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life.
Honestly, I was just wondering when they were going to do the Fallout 76 bundle.
Oh.
Ooh, did I say that? Oh, man. Speaking of video games that are probably in the news for really weird reasons, what's going on with this FPS game that Iron Maiden?
Oh my god, I'm glad we're going to talk about this now. This is the most fucked up, dumbass thing I've ever heard all day. So, are you guys familiar with the classic 80s metal band Iron Maiden?
No, Robert. I've never
good.
heard of Iron
I'm not going to
Maiden
explain
before.
it. Good. I'm not going to explain who they are.
Usually that's when you go, so let me tell you about them. No, nobody fucking cares. It's Iron Maiden. They're
all right.
okay.
So here's what's going on. So the band members of Iron Maiden are having issue with 3D Realms' retro shooter called Ion Maiden. Apparently, they're just saying that the logo and the name is too similar to their own band name, and so they are saying it's a breach of copyright. So they are suing them for damages and for not intellectual rights, but for like why is it escaping me? What's the terminology for
intellectual property?
Not intellectual property, like
rights.
Getting rewarded money for
royalty rights.
Royalty rights. There we go. For use of
similarities
or whatever. And I just can't help but facepalm at the fact that I gotta I'll have to share this with everybody for a second. I have to and everyone can draw their own conclusions.
So here's the deal. So Iron Maiden, the hair metal band, the metal band, the whatever you want to call them, has they're the legendary heavy metal band. So I'm just going to read you this article that I found about it. So the legendary heavy metal band's holding company is suing video game publisher 3D Realms over a first-person shooter called Ion Maiden. The suit claims the game's title and other plot and packaging elements amount to an
there's a logo.
A quote-unquote an effort to confuse consumers into believing
I am so confused right now. Look at that.
And services are somehow affiliated with or approved by Iron Maiden. The lawsuit argues that not only the name of the game, but the logo also infringes on the band's trademark. Additionally, The Guardian reports the band claims the name of the game's protagonist, Shelley Harrison, is a riff on Iron Maiden bassist Steve Harris. According to the filing, there are already several examples of fans being confused by the band's relationship to the game, including commenting that they were misled into believing that the Ion Maiden game was an Iron Maiden game. Reading an article about the Ion Maiden video game, waiting for an explained connection to Iron Maiden, and expressing genuine excitement for an Iron Maiden video game.
Man, I can't tell you the last time I saw Iron Maiden go out and shoot demonic demons from hell.
Well, I mean, their mascot is Eddie, a demonic demon from hell.
But
Yeah,
he's a mascot, not exactly they're hunting him down and shooting him.
Did you know they also have a gotcha game based around like 80 million versions of Eddie?
Yeah,
Are you fucking serious?
I swear
Yeah.
to God.
it's a thing. So apparently, Iron
I don't
Maiden
want to
is
live
seeking
on this planet
$2 million.
anymore.
Yeah. So apparently, Iron Maiden is seeking $2 million in statutory damages, as well as injunctions prohibiting the use or the registration of the existing logo and trademark. The suit is also asking for the game's website to be taken down or to have the ownership transferred. Neither the band's lawyer nor a spokesperson for 3D Realms responded to a request for comment by the time for publication.
And you know what? I mean, because I've seen dumber things happen, I decided to go ahead and buy the game. It was on sale for Steam. I mean, it's an early access game right now, but you never know if it's going to get pulled from the store because of some dumb shit like this.
Right.
I first off, they're complaining about the logo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the logo isn't particularly conducive to the aesthetic of Iron Maiden, honestly.
No, let's
It
look at that one more time, as if I didn't
I'm
show
going
it
to
a
tell you
thousand
right
times.
now, it's like, so if you look at Iron Maiden's, like, you can already tell that just based on the font choice that it's completely different. And you look at the one from the actual game, that's just like that's actually like a true type font that's in the public domain. Like that's a true type font. That's general public domain font right there. Not even remotely close to the Iron Maiden lettering.
And how about the fact that they're saying the
close.
main character is a spoof
It's a
off of
riff
their
on some
basis? Like, really? Are you gonna stretch it that goddamn far?
Like it's
Yeah, like
just
why
ludicrous.
wouldn't you spoof the fucking lead singer, for Christ's sake? Also, the game has been out like a goddamn year at this point.
I think it was promoted as far as 2 years ago, and it's been out for a full year now. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
with an official release, I think coming out at the end of the year. It's just like, just get
I don't
over
know,
your
man.
fucking selves. I mean, oh
is
my
what it
god.
is.
So well,
It is what it is. It's stupid.
It is.
It's
So
crazy,
there's-
but that's how it happens.
yeah. So I mean, there's nothing more we could talk about other than that. This is a pure what the fuck moment brought to you by Iron Maiden. So
Like yet another video game being knocked on by another group or band that most people stopped believing were actually still alive.
yeah. Well,
I also
anyway.
feel like there's one thing that's also worth noting here. They're saying that the character is based off of, their bassist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all they have to do for that one is hold up the fact that the character Shelly Harrison
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
was originally created for the game Bombshell.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she has nothing to do with Iron Maiden as a franchise.
Nope.
Like,
Like everything
they
they have in this
literally
is
could
all
just-
original content.
Yeah,
it's
like,
all
and
original
Bombshell
content.
came out about 4 years ago. So
Right.
Yep.
Like, the most that they can argue is that the name Ion Maiden is a parody of Iron Maiden. Like, that's all they've got.
Yep.
And it's like... Meanwhile, if you look up Iron Maiden, the first thing that comes up isn't this lawsuit. It's that them and Judas Priest are talking about getting together and doing one more tour, quote, before we die.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, the more you know. Hey, so if we're gonna talk about things that we weren't really sure were like, why is this a thing? Can we just jump into our E3 predictions now? 'Cause
yeah,
we're
absolutely,
super
because we're having too much
Super
fun.
close.
So let's let the fun keep going. All right. So with E3 next week, there is a ton of rumors and speculation to be had. And, of course, we'll cover some of those big rumors and speculations and, of course, make our own little predictions. Let's tackle the first one. Do you think Microsoft is going to be the first of the major consoles to be revealed next week? Do you think it's going to be the next Xbox or the PlayStation 5 to be shown off? We'll go with you, Mark.
Well, there's a lot of people talking in general about the transition period as it relates to how gaming is going right now.
Mhm.
I'm going to be 100% honest here. I don't fucking care.
I mean, the reason why this is a big speculation now is because, I mean, there's, of course, there's going to be two consoles there, and they are nicknamed Lockhart and Anaconda. I mean, why. But it's also because Microsoft recently has been, tooting a whole lot about, more Xbox integration with Windows 10, along with a possible new Windows or Microsoft Xbox app that will be releasing for the system, possibly for the PC for maybe the end of the year, probably for early access. I personally do not think that the next Xbox console will be revealed. Maybe some specs, but I think Microsoft is going to focus mostly on brand new games. Most notably, their games from all their 5 new companies that they purchased last year. Probably Battletoads is most likely going to be shown off. Pretty much just all that run of the mill. I think we're definitely going to be Sony is not going to be like they said last year. They've abandoned the presentation show. They're going to be doing their own thing by what Nintendo does with an online presentation.
No, they're not. They're not doing anything at E3 at all. There will be a state of play that will most likely occur before E3.
Yeah, that's what I meant. The state of play is what they were probably going to do to reveal it.
It will not be at E3. It will either be before or after E3's time frame. Microsoft and Nintendo have time slots. So we will get a Nintendo Direct on Tuesday, June 11th at 9 a.m. Pacific, and Microsoft will have their normal time slot on Sunday, June 9th, 1 p.m. Pacific. But the Sony slot was taken by Square Enix.
Ooh.
Square Enix will now be on Monday, June 10th, 6 p.m. Sony has foregone E3 in its entirety. They will not be at the show
so they're not going to have any showroom floor for their games.
As a baseline for hardware.
Okay.
Sony will not be at E3 at all.
Okay.
They do not have a time slot for a press conference or a pre-recorded message like Nintendo is doing, and they will not be at E3. That is specifically to state. As it states in the actual... I'm looking at the US Gamer article. It says the one chief absence from E3 2019 is Sony. Like EA, they will not be holding a proper presentation at this year's E3, but whereas E3 will be putting on the EA Play event for the public to attend, Sony won't be rocking up to the show at all.
Okay. Now, outside of that, besides Microsoft and Sony's rumors, another one of the big rumors. Here's the 3 games that, according to Game Informer, are possibly going to be revealed. The first one, and I think it's possible, but it's probably not going to get as much attention, is a new Fable game. Another one that might be talked about, of course, is the rumored Watch Dogs 3, which is supposed to take place, according to everybody, in a post-Brexit era in London. And then
it's called Watch Dogs Legion, and Ubisoft has confirmed that it will be at E3.
Okay, then that's not a rumor anymore. All right, and then the next one is apparently a new Darksiders game, and the last one, which I find most interesting, and of course, Mark, I'm sure you don't give a fuck. From Software is working side by side with George R.R. Martin on a game.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
I somehow figured...
I don't think George R.R. Martin is a particularly good author. I'm sorry. From Software is fine. I'm tired of the whole,
Everybody
Souls-esque aesthetic. Well, I'm tired of the Souls-esque aesthetic at this point, mechanically.
Mm-hmm.
Visually, artistically, orally, they can make Souls games forever, and I would think it's great. Mechanically, structurally, difficulty-wise, I'm kind of tired of it right now because, I played all of those games back before I had clinical anxiety. Now that I actually have to take pills for that shit, it's like playing a game that gives me that is not great for me personally, and it's not going to be something I'm going to actively seek out. But George R.R. Martin as an author, hard pass. I don't think he's a particularly good author. I think he's good at planning things out. I think he has an attention to detail that is exciting, but I think that he's just a very miserable writer, and I don't particularly care for his work. So the idea of them pairing up is meh.
Yeah.
Nah.
So
it's an interesting concept, and I kind of I'm sort of on the fence about it. As much as I love From Software, the fact that they're partying with George R. R. Martin basically is, well, it's a death fest. We're already expecting a lot of death, and probably with the sight of death. So I don't really know what to expect from it, and I'm not like hype. But it's nice that another From Software game is coming out because it'll be an original IP. But like we're talking about, it's probably going to be a Soulsborne style game, and I just really don't know how I feel about that. Honestly, the only Soulsborne game that I honestly am even remotely interested in at this point is Code Vein.
Yeah. Now, now, along with the other rumors besides the George R. R. Martin From Software endeavor, I mean, what do you guys think of the new Darksiders game, or even the potential of a new Fable game? Even though I'm pretty sure that franchise is laid to rest at this point.
Darksiders, I do not care about. I do not care about anything coming out of THQ Nordic at this point. Just because, like, a lot of people, I've had the conversation with a few people who've basically kind of been like, well, you know, I'm not going to hold it against them because of this, that, and the other thing, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, at the end of the day, there's a certain degree of fuck-upitude that you can achieve as a company before I will get to the point where I'm like, no, I don't want to be involved with you.
Weren't they the ones that did the 2chan thing?
Hosting 8chan.
Yeah.
Hosting an
8chan,
AMA on a site where they have kiddie porn is like, nah, I need some time to like for that not to be a thing. You know,
when you go to a place that's got actual Nazis, not neo-Nazis, but actual Nazis, that's when you have a problem. You gotta just not be there at all.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like, that's Reddit, you know?
I mean, you're not wrong.
That's Twitter, also. But I mean, like, yeah, like the kiddie porn for me is the, like, 2 seconds of Google would have told you this. Come on. So, like, the fact that you can't even get to the website by using Google could tell you this. Come on. You know? So, like, as far as Darksiders goes, I'm just, like, hard pass for a while. If you're interested in it, like, that's fine. I'm glad
they're at least trying to finish the 4 games that they were originally going to have for it, so that's nice, because, you know, 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, and originally we weren't going to get anything past 2, so yeah, hey, I guess that's a thing that's okay.
Yeah, like, I'm not going to hold anybody to some sort of fucked up purity test where it's like, if you want to fucking play this game, more power to you. It's just, for me personally, I'm not interested.
You're out. Yeah, we got you.
Yeah.
Now,
and what was the other game?
Fable 4. But I honestly don't know if that's going to be possible. I mean, the rumor is about the game is that it's apparently supposed to take place post Albion, which means it's probably going to be more futuristic based, but still have like you know, like kind of like old gameplay aspects still like in there with you know, bows and rifles and shit like that.
Fable 1 and 2 were really, really good. They had their flaws, to be sure, but I enjoyed them.
I thought Fable 2 was a great game. It was one of the, well, for the 32 era of the 32X and PS3, one of the best games that was out at that time.
Yeah.
Fable 3.
You mean the Xbox 360?
Yeah, you said 32X, bucko.
Oh, I said I was trying to correct myself. Xbox 360 and PS3 is what I said.
Right. It's just.
I kind of slurred my words together.
Are you good?
Are you
I'm
having
good.
a stroke?
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
No, I'm not having a stroke. Let's not joke about that.
Fair. But yeah, so Fable 1, Fable 2, good games, great games, I would say. They had their flaws, but whatever. Fable 3 is the dirt fucking worst.
Hold my hand.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. And then that weird battle royale-esque thing that they were trying to make based around Fable.
And
for
that
like 2
Kinect
years.
game.
Yeah. Like, so that's all kind of
awful.
Jen, you sound frustrated. I wonder why.
Oh god, battle royales! Don't even get me started.
Yeah. So for me personally, it's like the company associated with Fable doesn't even really exist anymore.
Yeah. Lionhead.
So yeah. So it's like if they make one, fine.
The first person Kinect fuck up. Oh Jesus! I forgot that even existed.
That's the one I just said earlier. The Kinect.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he mentioned that one. But yeah, like I don't care about it, just because there's not like bringing back the universe doesn't really hold anything for me because
it was pretty forgettable.
And further to the point, like the most recent games that we've seen from it have all been bad.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing back the franchise doesn't hold anything for me because, again, the first 2 games were good, but the last 2 games weren't. And it's not like Lionhead Studios has been doing all of this other stuff and is coming back to it. This isn't theoretically, mind you. I just want to say theoretically, this isn't a new Perfect Dark or a new Battletoads under the auspices of Rare. This is, like this isn't like Alice in Chains getting back together. This is an Alice in Chains cover band.
Oh wow!
Where's the lie?
It's funny because it's true. I don't know.
Yeah, I
man.
mean, they're all like some of them are gone. Some of the company is gone. Like some of them are dead. Whatever. It's not fucking happening. It's not fucking happening.
So let's jump ahead to. I mean, those were some of the big rumors. I mean, there isn't really much other than the fact that maybe, oh hey, is Square going to show off the rest of their Final Fantasy VII Remake trailer? Are they going to reveal how many parts it's going to be? I mean, yeah, we know that's fucking coming. And right now, the biggest thing about that is, what is Tifa going to look like? I mean, I don't know why people give such a fuck, but
they've already shown her rework.
No, they didn't. That was a fake picture. I've seen it.
No, Square has already released some art that's official, and
link it to me because I'm pretty sure it's the same one I saw. And I'm
because they took it down and are already confirming that the Final Fantasy VII Remake will be at E3 in some capacity, which we're not sure if that means that it will be just a trailer addendum or will actually be a playable model, but they will be talking in full about Final Fantasy VII Remake. So, from what I understand, some of the artwork that we saw that we thought was real was wrong, and there was some of it that was also official that was leaked.
Is this the image right here? I'm sharing in the Discord?
No.
Because that's the one I've been seeing, and I know that's not fake. That's not the real one.
No, that's actually just a 3D model that was put into the Dissidia engine. It's a mod.
Okay. Yeah, I figured as much because I knew it was fake.
That's a mod for Steam.
I know. That's what everyone keeps saying. Oh, this is an in-game. I'm like, no, it's fucking fake.
That's.
Although it's really nice looking, I wouldn't mind if Tifa looked like that in 7, but she's not.
But no. But there are some other artwork that was like concept art that was released by Square Enix that got taken down that will be re-released when C3 comes around.
Did you see it? I assume you saw it.
I did. It looked great.
Tifa looked great.
Oh,
look, I'm gonna be 100% honest.
You don't care.
I don't care about Final Fantasy VII, obviously, but I mean, for me personally, so long as she still has huge bahunga kugas, I don't give a shit.
But what about the transfer student?
just humongous Bulgong Hunkeros.
So I'm just gonna go down the list for me because
right.
E3 for me as an expectation has been kind of like 50-50. Like there's some companies that I'm more interested in than others, and there's some games that I am interested more than the others. So I'm just gonna kind of go down the list. Now, obviously, the way the schedule.
Also, I'm pretty sure that the universe. I'm pretty sure that the Earth is going to end in its heat death before the Final Fantasy VII remake comes out. Anyway, so
it's Nomura, obviously.
Mm-hmm. We got another 7 years to go.
Yeah, I mean, we've got plenty of time. Anyway, wasn't like 2021 or 2022 like a specific anniversary for the original release? I think that's probably when we're going to see it. Mostly just because Nomura hates us. But so if we're going to run down the list, so let's just start at the top and go down. Bethesda. First, really the only thing I give any shit about is Doom Eternal. Knowing that they've confirmed that Doom Eternal will have a showcase at E3 means that we're going to get more information on Doom Eternal. So I'm okay with that.
I'm down with that.
I'm excited for that. Yep. That will be the first show. It's Sunday, June 9th, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. So that'll be the first conference. They're the number
real
one
quick.
time.
Anybody want to do live reactions? Stream them?
We'll talk about that later. I'm pretty sure I'll be up for it.
I just want to get our fans excited in case they want to join us.
Absolutely. I've got Saturdays and Sundays off. But Anyway, I'll talk to you about it later. But yes,
Absolutely.
I'm more than happy to do live reactions. Absolutely.
Just so you know, we might do some live reactions.
Ooh. Second up is Microsoft. Sunday, June 9th, 1 p.m. Pacific. So
I'm gonna miss that. I'll be at work.
That is the sort of primary slot one. So the Microsoft conference, we're looking at information about Halo Infinite, most likely headlining Gears of War 5, Forza, and possibly a console release. We're not positive. It could very well be that they throw us the biggest fucking swerve in gaming history and going, haha, fooled you, we're not releasing a console, we're just going to make it so that all of our games are playable on all the other consoles, because that's what gaming is all about. That's my hope.
It worked for Sega.
It did. It worked very well for Sega. So honestly, if that's something that Microsoft chose to do, I would be 110% on board, because that would be probably the biggest good guy move that any of the big companies could have ever made in the history of making decisions. Again, that is just my 110% wishful thinking. Is it going to happen? Who knows? Maybe this is the project. Maybe the entire time they were swerving us, and this is exactly how it's going to go down. And everything we're going to be seeing is
swerve at E3.
Shock! I mean, last year's Sony conference, am I right? Honestly, the fact of the matter is this. And I linked this information to you guys too in our other chat when I mentioned the fact that they Microsoft actually released a updated Wire. This is their blog posting, basically, back on the 30th. It basically states a big approach, not just to gaming in general, but specifically PC gaming. And this is really kind of a big shade throw at Epic Games. I'm going to touch on it, then I'm going to move on. 9 times out of 10, people hear Epic Games Store, they cringe because it's an awful experience. And yeah, no, you're wrong if you think it otherwise. They basically start off by saying 2 years ago we launched Xbox Game Pass on Xbox One, and we've seen how valuable the curated library, like EA's Origin Access has been. They understand that this is something people like. Mm-hmm. Think of it akin to like Netflix and Hulu and Crunchyroll and streaming services. It's the same basic idea as like PlayStation Now and EA Origin Access. So the fact that they've gotten all of these first and third-party developers on board to allow for their games to be catered and cultured to people by paying a monthly subscription cost to play these games whenever they want to, however they want to, on their PC, on their console, and that they're most likely going to be bringing it to the PC in the Windows 10 environment. This is a huge boost for Microsoft in general, not just through the Microsoft Windows Store, but also because a lot of their games are coming to Steam. This is a big deal because it includes 3 really huge titles that people never even thought possible. Obviously, we already know about Halo Master Chief Collection coming to Steam. This is already a big deal. But now they've also, in this blog post, specifically touch on Forza and Gears of War 5.
Now, on top of those games coming to Steam, there's the big speculation going around too with Microsoft in that, when I was talking about the new Xbox experience that they're going to be releasing the app for the end of the year, they're working apparently on a way to play Xbox 360 games on your PC with a way of installing them on the PC. Mm-hmm. So
what they're basically talking about is the same sort of technology that you could currently use on a PS4 through PlayStation Now. It's a downloaded streamed content. So you cater the idea, you grab the hard copy of the game, and you download the physical game to your hard drive. This is the same idea that they're going to do by implementing an Xbox Live infrastructure, an Xbox One infrastructure, let me rephrase that, into the Windows 10 environment, which will allow for the backwards compatibility of Xbox 360 games being ported into the Xbox One architecture through your PC without actually having to have a physical Xbox One console to stream the content from the console to your PC. through the Xbox app. Now, this also keys in on the fact that they also talked about Age of Empires 1, 2, and 3 definitive editions as coming to PC as well. And again, because of the fact that these are both coming from a place, you're getting this both on the Windows Store environment and Steam. This is huge. So now here's another catch. The thing is that when they released this blog post, this Xbox Wire, they specifically threw shade at Epic. Like, it's not calling out Epic directly, but it states enabling gamers to play together through cross-platform play and cross-network play across Windows 10 PCs and console is vitally important. Building communities across all of these players, regardless of the store or platform they've chosen, console or PC, is also vitally important because it helps bring players together, allows game to find their largest audience, and allows gaming to deliver its true potential of uniting people around the power of play. Like, if that isn't shade at Epic Game Store for buying exclusivity, I don't know what is. Also, keep in mind, Obsidian is now their first-party partner. And wasn't there supposed to be a game that was supposed to be Epic exclusive? Oh, right, Outer Worlds. Yeah, pretty sure it's going to be on Microsoft Windows Store soon. So, yeah, that's a thing that's going to happen. So,
Microsoft Windows Store, the store that Microsoft talked about 2 years ago of shutting down.
Yeah, it's
and
not
it's
going
still
anywhere.
going.
It's still here, and it's back in POG form.
Yeah, POG form.
That's a reference for those of you who are old enough to remember how old I am too.
We're old.
That,
Get
Jim
over
Sterling's
it.
been talking about Pogs a lot, so that's not really a new thing anymore,
I
unfortunately.
mean, fair. So the next one that's on the list is the Upload VR show. It's VR. It's a show about VR. It's a show about what's coming up in VR. Okay. I'm kind of excited. I mean, just as an aside for the Xbox thing, yeah, you can actually get the Xbox architecture, like the actual environment, in Oculus. Anyway, now, up next,
and not
after
just
that,
Oculus, but through Samsung's Vive and other.
It's
devices.
through all. Yeah. The Xbox. You actually can use Xbox, the actual Xbox app in VR. Up after that on Monday as well is the PC gaming show. Now, this is more of a generalized thing, where a lot of it is basically just like, these are kind of the things that we're looking forward to that are most likely going to only be released or going to be the most anticipated on PC. Goodness, I really don't know. I think there's just a lot of stuff that happened there that was kind of weird that I think last year that probably could be kind of oddball, but it is what it is. We don't know what games are going to be there. We don't know what kind of hardware they're going to put on. Most likely it's going to be a lot of indie games, maybe some gems that we may not have things. Sable is being debuted at the PC gaming show, so last year, so who's to know what's going to get this year. The next one after that is Ubisoft. Ubisoft has already confirmed that they will be bringing Watch Dogs Legion, so that is kind of a big deal. Probably finally some more news about Beyond Good and Evil 2. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's pretty much the only games that really matter coming out of Ubisoft that aren't already out, like Division 2, and I feel like, well, they have a couple of things to talk about. Most likely, I feel like it's going to be predominantly Watch Dogs. Beyond Good and Evil 2 will probably have a good spot, and anything else that comes out of it will probably just be update content for existing console, so you're probably going to get some update roadmap info from Division. You're probably going to get some update roadmap stuff from Siege, but honestly, that's about it. I don't know that they've got anything else major.
Yeah, I'm hoping they don't sideline Beyond Good and Evil 2. They've done that a few times, even after they teased it, like numerous times the last 15 years.
I mean, it is what it is.
It is. I mean, it is as great as much as I enjoyed the first game. It wasn't a huge seller, so I can understand Ubisoft's hesitation for wanting to do the sequel. I can understand them, sidelining it numerous times because they have had other projects. I mean, hell, when they revealed the sequel originally, like 10 years ago, Assassin's Creed just picked up, and they were just like, you know what, we're going to concentrate on this.
Yeah, exactly. The next one after Ubisoft is what used to be the Sony conference slot, Monday, June 10th, 6 p.m. Pacific, is now being taken by Square Enix.
And we know what's going to happen.
So, I mean, Square Enix has already confirmed that they're going to be bringing Final Fantasy VII Remake information in some capacity. What that means, we don't know. They will also be most likely talking about news of Dragon Quest XI and Dragon Quest Builders 2 for Nintendo Switch. So that's kind of a big deal. Outside of that, I really don't know what else they may be announcing. They
could announce. There was a rumor about a month ago saying that Sony or Square Enix is looking to remake another classic Final Fantasy game in the vein of Final Fantasy VII-R. So maybe they might hint at what that remake might be. I mean, people are speculating 6. I mean, that's what people want, but it might end up being 8 or 10.
There are only 2 games that it could possibly be. It's either going to be 6 or it's going to be 9.
I would be fine with either of those. I would be happy if it was either of them.
I'm sure. I think the biggest issue here is that because of the fact that 8 as a baseline is gone from existence, kind of like Panzer Dragoon Saga.
Yeah. And I'm not shedding a tear over that.
We're not really sure what's going to happen with 8 because it's been a far cry because a lot of people are complaining about the fact that there isn't any sort of push for anything from 8 in any content. Even World of Final Fantasy didn't really have a lot of 8 representation.
Hell, the Cydia games, they only get like 2 or 3 characters.
You get Squall and Laguna. That's about it. Or no, Skull and what's her butt? Renoa. Sorry, not
what's her butt.
The other things that I'm thinking about here too, just in general, obviously we've got Nintendo on Tuesday. We already know it's Nintendo. They're gonna do their little shenaniganry that Nintendo does. We're expecting the second Challenger Pack announcement to be at E3 during the Direct at some point, probably either at the very beginning just to troll us or at the very end. Somebody made a troll post on Twitter about Animal Crossing Party. So who knows? Maybe we'd actually get
the one thing I'm expecting
that actually happens.
The one thing I'm expecting from Nintendo, and that's all I really care about, really, Metroid Prime 4. That's all I'm.
That would be a thing that would be nice to know more about, since the last thing we saw was just a giant 4.
The last thing, and the fact that they changed hands for development because they didn't like the direction it was going in, so they brought Retro back to take over.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see whatever progress they've made. That's pretty much all I want.
The only other couple of games that I think that would be interesting to really find out more about that I think are going to be during very specific places, like so. Obviously, we want to know about Cyberpunk 2077. CD Projekt Red has already confirmed that it's going to be at E3 this year in some capacity. Most people are basically saying that it's going to be on the Microsoft conference. Again, because PC and Microsoft kind of go hand in hand. Mm-hmm. It just sort of makes sense to put it on the Microsoft conference. Obviously, being able to talk more about Doom Eternal is going to be nice because it's going to be interesting to actually see the only AAA title that Bethesda actually releases that generally is the best property they have right now because, you know, it's not broken out of box every single time. Dying Light 2, I feel like is another game that I think is really going to be interesting and probably also going to release at the Microsoft conference. So that would be another interesting game that I would really like to see more on.
Yeah.
For the Bethesda part, I think they're going to show off quite a bit of Starfield, the game that their next IP that's for space adventures.
I think they already announced that they're not going to be saying anything about Starfield. Actually.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, no, nothing. It'll probably be next year.
Well,
yeah, honestly, they're really going to be banking a lot of this year's conference on Doom.
Yeah, you kind of don't want to steal the thunder from Doom.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see more stuff on Fallout 76, frankly.
I would love to see them actually say, hey, we know we screwed up, so here's the better roadmap, and these are the things we're going to touch on, and these are the things we're going to do. Honestly, okay, so You already know that I am vehemently not a big Bethesda fan. I do not like Bethesda. I do not generally play Bethesda games without some very serious modding or some specific types of mods that are going to make me want to play that game, such as the anime mod for Fallout 4. Anyway, I really kind of don't like Bethesda as a general rule, because generally they don't make good content. However, by having them come out on stage and go, yeah, sorry guys, we know we fucked up. By the way, we're making it so that you guys can do XYZ with it, like, I don't know, giving the ability to mod the game as you would Fallout 4 would be nice.
Oh yeah,
Not
they're
going to
absolutely
happen.
they're never doing that.
Not going to happen, but would be a nice way of basically going, yeah, we know.
I mean, they offer minimal mods for Elder
You have a
Scrolls
better
Online.
chance of you have a better chance of shitting a live chicken, Janice.
No,
But
I
anyway.
mean, when it comes to Bethesda and Fallout 76, the one thing I want to hear come out of their mouth is, hey, we fucked up. We're going to pull a Final Fantasy 14 and redo this game. How's that sound?
They're not going to do that.
No, they're not. I mean,
Again,
that's why I
they're
said this
not
is something
going to-
I
they
want to
already have
hear.
a 4-year
but it's not gonna
roadmap
happen.
set up for what 76 is going to be. They already told everyone this is when the content is going to be released. Like,
That's
there
nice.
are times on the timetable of the roadmap when this game is supposed to.
But what good is a
quote-unquote,
roadmap
be
if
fixed.
people stop playing it before, the end of the year?
I don't know. Ask Blizzard.
Let's see,
Anyway,
Blizzard and Bethesda. Blizzard?
Look, here's the thing. Dying Light 2, I mean, Techland stated they were going to be at E3, so we'll see. Halo Infinite, obviously going to be one of Microsoft's big fucking guns at the conference. We know we're going to see a ton about it. If we don't, I would be absolutely shocked. Thank God it's not a battle royale, right? Obviously, Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to be a big deal for Square Enix. I do also know that they're going to be doing a live letter for Final Fantasy XIV from the E3 show floor, so there's probably going to be some additional push for Final Fantasy XIV from Square Enix, because, let's be honest, it's the biggest MMO on the market right now. You'd be stupid not to. Outside of that, are there any other games that I would like to hear or like to see? I don't know. I think pretty much that covers it. I want to see more about Cyberpunk. I want to get my hands on it. I really want to play that game. I'm excited for the Square Enix conference. I'm excited to see who they announce as the second challenger for Smash is going to be, because they've already stated before Reggie left that all of the characters that were going to be put into Smash are Smash originals. They've never been in Smash, and they are not something that you would ever typically see from Nintendo going into the Smash universe. Like, let's be honest, they pretty much started guns blazing by putting Joker from Persona 5 into Smash. That basically leaves this giant door wide open for characters we never even thought could have been possible for being in this game. So I'm excited to see what Nintendo actually announces on Monday for that, because I'll be, or Tuesday, sorry, because I honestly feel like it could just be something that we never saw out of left field, and I'm kind of excited for that.
Okay. Mark, your turn.
I don't know. Like, I just don't. I don't really know what to think of E3 as a thing at this point. I feel like E3 as a content. What's the word I'm looking for here?
Like a content filter?
As a place where content is revealed is going to be sorely tested this year. With the absence of Sony and other companies stepping in. And so it's going to be very interesting seeing, for lack of a better way of saying it, how relevant E3 is going to be in a year or 5 years or 10 years or whatever. So beyond that, though, like, I think that's kind of the more interesting story right now. Like, as far as the stuff coming out goes, like, at this point, a lot of the games that have already, like, a lot of the games that are going to be interesting to me personally are kind of games that have already been announced that we know exist, and I just want to know more about them. Like, there's not going to be a lot that's going to excite me as new releases are concerned.
Sure.
Just because I don't know, like, there's not, like, I don't know. It's just hard to really, articulate it, but I'm just kind of at a point right now where the stuff around it is more interesting to me than the actual conference itself.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah. E3.
What about that? But what about that Banjo-Kazooie rumor?
At this point, I would like to say I'm more interested in the rumor of a next Conquer Bad Fur Day game, which I think may be a possibility.
Wow, that is a throwback.
Yeah, that's a big,
Goodness
strong
gracious.
rumor, too.
No, thank you.
I'm kind of gonna... Okay, so... Unpopular opinion. I like the memes that came out of that game, but I do not like the game.
It was
Which
a very
version?
good
The
game,
Xbox
to be honest.
remake or both in general?
In general, I didn't think it was very well made. I liked the memes. I think some of the lines and some of the comedy that came out of it was kind of funny for its era.
I would
but
say... Yeah.
you would have to completely retrofit the entire game with nothing but shit posts and memes from the last 2 years for it to even remotely be relevant at this point. Other than that, just go mod Hat in Time. I mean, fuck.
I mean...
There are better games in the genre right now for way cheaper than a AAA title would be for something like that to want me to actually play that. Honestly, if we're really talking about I would rather see it than that would be, where's my Psychonauts?
Yeah, there you were talking about Psychonauts 2, and we haven't really heard much about that as well.
They announced it, and then nothing.
Yeah?
How about you give me some more on that? That'd be great. I'd be more happy to play that than Conquer.
Yeah.
I mean... yeah.
I mean, when it comes to E3 this year, the games I know that are going to be announced, I'm pretty sure that they're going to be are going to be talked about by Microsoft, Square Enix with Final Fantasy VII. I mean, there isn't much from the Sony camp that I'm interested in this year, even though I'm probably been leaning more towards the PlayStation 4 these last couple of years than my Xbox One. Pretty much, I'm more or less interested in what comes out of Camp Nintendo. I want to see the Direct. I want to see what they got lined up. I mean, they've been hitting it out of the ballpark this year with all their Directs, especially the Indie Direct they had about 2 months ago.
Where's my Crypt of the Necrodancer Zelda, guys? Come on.
Yeah.
That's the only time I've ever been excited for a Zelda game. Please.
Yeah, I want to know more about the Link's Awakening remake. I'm excited about that.
You and, like, half the internet. I
Yeah.
swear. Like...
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, I feel like
I mean, it's
E3
fine
this
if you're
year-
not interested in that. I mean, I understand.
No, it's fine. We've gone over my personal preference for Zelda and Metroid, but anyway, I feel like E3 this year is kind of in a weird place where it's kind of big, but it's also kind of like the weakest E3 that we've ever seen, other than like when it first started out of, you know,
Vegas,
CES.
I think, the first couple of years.
When it was still part of CES.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. I feel like Sony stepping out from the limelight to do State of Play makes logical sense. Microsoft staying on means one of two things. Either they are officially revealing new hardware this year, or they're swerving everyone saying we're not making a new hardware console and we're giving all of our software to the other consoles, i.e. Switch and PlayStation 5. Basically saying, oh, and by the way, we're the official operating system of PlayStation 5. Look forward to the new State of Play as a collaboration effort occurs. Like I said, the biggest swerve in history.
Microsoft owns everybody.
I want you to logically think about that, though. If Disney thinks that they can buy all of the movie franchises, why the hell can't Microsoft just buy all the console franchises? I'm just saying.
They have enough
They have
money.
the money. It's a possibility. Anyway,
it's more than a possibility, but I don't think that's what we're going to go with.
I feel like I'm in a completely different timeline, though. I'm probably the only person on the planet right now that honestly thinks that Microsoft isn't going to release a console, is going to say that the Xbox architecture is what's going to power the PS5, leak the PS5, and go, oh, by the way, we're collaborating with all console creators at this point going forward to integrate the Microsoft Xbox infrastructure, or the Xbox, like, just the experience of Microsoft on all console and PC devices to not only foster crossplay, but also foster game development on a much more fundamentally simplistic nature.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna have sound like you're smoking a lot of crack.
Yeah,
I really am smoking a lot of crack. Again, like I said, I'm probably the only person on the planet that says these, but I can honestly say that if that was what ended up happening, things will change, drastically change, to a point where things can finally become more accessible.
If I fucking grew wings, I wouldn't have to spend money on gas to get to work anymore.
I'm just thinking right now, we're gonna have.
As I said, Janice, you shit live chicken. More likely to happen.
I just have to find this really funny, the fact that, hey, we're going to have Microsoft operating systems on all major consoles now. I guess that means we're going to have a little underground movement of, like, some port of Linux for consoles, too, somewhere along the line.
Doesn't, like, the PS3 run on a basic Linux architecture, though?
They use something consistent with Linux, yes.
Yeah, and they
That's
gave...
what I thought. Yeah, it's like... So, not entirely unfeasible there, buddy.
Yeah. I can't wait to see Ubuntu on the Switch in a couple of years.
What, it didn't already happen? I thought that was a thing that somebody already did.
Put Linux on?
Yeah, but that's more the case of, like, that's not like a regular thing. That's more like, I can play Doom on my fridge, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I can play Skyrim on a touchpad. Fine, whatever, man. I get it. Look.
As much fun as we are having now, we're going to have to start to end the show, unfortunately. So, I mean, this has been one hell of a crazy ride that we've been going up and down on in this roller coaster for E3 speculation. So,
hey, look, you brought me back to the show after I had to take off for a couple of weeks.
We didn't brought you back to the show. You just came in and said, "Bitches, I'm taking over."
Robert, you have to invite her to the call. Everybody knows that's not true.
All I have to do is hit call, and it dials everybody.
You can right-click and have it stop calling, by the way.
I could, but then that would just be rude of me.
I know, it's fine. I love you both. It's great.
Yeah, we love having you back, Jan. So, all right, as the show winds down, though, real quick, let's do some... let's see what everybody's up to. Jan, please, are you streaming still?
Yes, so I just started streaming back up. Last weekend was my first stream in a couple of months. Obviously, anxiety and personal issues aside, I am starting to stream again. Now that I have a bit more of a semblance of a regular schedule at work, I can actually do it again. Last weekend, I actually did some streaming. I did both the Grand Blue Fantasy Versus beta over the weekend, as well as the Code Vein beta. Both of those games were pretty fantastic in my book. I had a good time with the Grand Blue Fantasy beta. It's a fighting game based on the Grand Blue Fantasy mobile game with characters from it, and I'm kind of excited for not just its ease of use, but its simplicity, because let's be honest, Arc System Works has these anime fighting games by the balls. Code Vein was probably my highlight, though. I spent a ton of time playing that over the weekend. It was great. It felt clean. It felt smooth. It really felt like it was a much cleaner... It didn't just feel like Dark Souls 3 with a slap of anime code on it. It really felt like a standalone game that was built from the ground up to really play in that sort of world, but has all of these extra things that sort of attribute to A, it's an anime game, and B, it's not Dark Souls. It doesn't just play like Dark Souls. It has unique integration. The counter system, the parry system that's inherent in it has different timings based on the different type of armor that you're wearing. So not every single piece of armor is going to have the exact same parry timing. You have to learn that. the storyline seems actually pretty engaging for a Soulsborne style game, outside of, Bloodborne's actual storyline being relatively decent. It's not trying to simply teach you the story by playing the game like Dark Souls did. It gives you that anime narrative that you expect from Bandai Namco. So it's definitely on my radar of games I'm most likely going to get on launch day, because I really feel like this is a Dark Soulsborne style game that I can actually play and enjoy. The last time I could say that was Sekiro, because I really do actually love Tenchu to death. It was probably one of my favorite games of the genre. But I'll be damned if it really is a difficult game. But once I kind of got back into that Tenchu groove of understanding where the stealth works and where it doesn't, it just made sense to me, and the game clicked, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. I was really super disappointed that I also didn't get into the Nioh 2 alpha, but hey, I got 2 out of the 3, ain't bad. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much where I'm going forward, is just kind of getting back into the groove of things now that I've got a regular schedule again. So I'm back here, I'm back to streaming, so we back, boys.
All right, and how about you, Mark? What you got going on?
Still adjusting to my anti-anxiety medication. We are doing Saturday streams regularly as normal. I just did a board game stream this past Saturday where we did something a little different. We ran a tabletop session, a one-shot game, which I think went pretty well, except for the fact that I didn't have a particularly great ending for the one-shot.
That's not good.
That happens sometimes.
They didn't have a good ending in the book for it, honestly, and I didn't put as much effort into developing it as I probably should have. I just wanted to test and see how it would go with the group, and it went fine. So, I'll probably put more effort into doing that sort of thing going forward if we do it again. But yeah, streaming every Saturday at this point. Probably going to try to do Fridays again soon. Just waiting for my meds to work out as they're supposed to. That's pretty much about it right now.
Okay.
Taking it one day at a time.
Good. All right. So the next episode of GVN Live, of course, will be June 18th, the week after E3. We are going to discuss about the possibility of maybe live streaming some live reactions to some of these E3 conferences that'll happen later in the day. We'll talk about that. We'll let you guys know on Twitter or through our official Discord channel. Yeah, I have a link down there. Yeah. Click on it, motherfuckers. And Monday,
calling them motherfuckers and telling them to click something probably won't get them to click it.
Oh, please. The majority of the people in the channel are already probably followers anyway. But, so on Mondays, I'm still continuing Monster Hunter Mondays, having a little bit of fun with that. I'm just getting more and more excited about, Monster Hunter World Iceborne. They just revealed Tigrex, and now they're teasing us with Glavenus and possibly the return of the Fated Four. Friday.
Brachydios.
What?
Brachydios.
Yeah, I know you want Brachydios that badly.
No, he's in the official, okay.
I know, they have the poster there. I know, I saw the poster.
The anniversary poster has basically been turned into the, this is basically the spoiler list for all of the monsters released in Iceborne. As basically, so far, all of the monsters that have been on that poster have been announced for Iceborne, as they actually just released the Iceborne story trailer, and it had Tigrex in it. So,
and Tigrex was messing some people up pretty good.
Yep, and at the very end of that trailer, you had a Rathlian who was trying to growl and trying not to die, and the hunter turns around, and there was some purple-ass eyes, and I'm like, oh no.
And then we big realized fiery tail just slicing up the screen.
Yeah, it wasn't Lao in the poster either. That's Fatalis.
Fatalis, really?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Kind of excited.
But yeah. Anyway, yes. So
which Monster Hunter poster is this?
She'll link in the Discord. But on Wednesday, this Wednesday, tomorrow, I'll probably be playing some Guild Wars 2, most likely. I haven't played that in a couple days. I've been getting back into it. I've actually found a group of friends to play with. This should be fun. I am going to be releasing, hopefully, next week, the next video in my game adaptation series. I will be going solo this time, talking about a couple of adaptations of the Legend of Zelda franchise to comic form.
Is that Lagacruz?
Yeah.
Lagiacrus?
Lagiacrus, yeah.
Lagiacrus.
Which one are we talking about is either Lao Shenlong or Fatalis?
Far left.
Far left.
But anyway, yeah.
That's not Lao Shenlong's head.
Yeah,
that's
no,
Fatalis. That's definitely Fatalis.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But yeah, that's
I'm
pretty
just
much all I got
happy that they
going
put
on.
Nargacuga. So long as you got Nargacuga, that's all I care about.
Yeah, you got Nargi, you got Tigrex. You've also got.
Is it alright if I can end the show before we finish this discussion?
Anyway.
Bitch. Yeah. Whatever.
But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Again, like I said, next episode of GVN Live will be June 18th. Thank you from me, Mark, and Jan. Hope you guys have yourself a wonderful night, and we're going to go raid somebody real quick.
Okay.
Yep. While
you're looking at raiding Grab, I'm just going to do a quick little plug. Don't forget, Pokemon Sword and Shield Direct tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific.
I'm going to miss it, but I can't wait to see it. All right.
Just because you guys aren't into Pokemon, don't mean that there aren't people in the chat.
I'm into Pokemon. Fuck you.
I'm not.
I know.
I thought Let's Go was fine.
All right,
I don't need
guys.
anything else.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Have a good night.